$1,200. Now, that's not a monthly software subscription. That is currently the median cost to acquire just one single B2B SaaS customer right now in 2026. Over the last 5 years, that figure has surged by an alarming 60%. Listen, if you're a SaaS founder, a marketing leader, or a revenue operator, this one number represents the absolute most immediate threat to your business. The era of cheap, easy acquisition is totally over, and the pressure is on. So the million-dollar question we're all facing is simple. How do you actually grow when acquisition costs are skyrocketing? Because let's be real, the whole growth at all costs era is completely dead. We're looking at a market right now where B2B sales cycles are stretching to an agonizing 134 days on average. And to make matters worse, your standard acquisition channels are practically bleeding you dry. Since 2019, Google Ads costs are up 164%, and LinkedIn ads, they've jumped 89%. You just can't afford to buy your way to growth with broad advertising and cold outreach anymore. The math literally doesn't work, and trying to scale that way is just going to burn right through your runway. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the ultimate data-backed playbook for surviving and honestly dominating the 2026 SaaS efficiency squeeze. Predictive lead scoring for B2B SaaS. We're going to look at the exact frameworks top-performing companies are using to bypass those crazy ad costs, pinpoint the accounts that are actually ready to buy right this second, and massively shorten those 134-day sales cycles. We're skipping the hype and going straight to the hard data. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Predictive lead scoring is basically using AI models to evaluate engagement and behavior patterns so you can prioritize high-value opportunities. The massive shift here is that we are moving entirely away from gut feelings. We aren't just guessing who might be a good fit based on a static job title or, company size anymore. Instead, we're looking at real granular behavioral data. We're tracking exactly what a prospect is doing, how they're interacting with your ecosystem, and then using machine learning to calculate their literal likelihood to close. The contrast between the old approach and this modern framework is pretty wild. Think about the traditional MQL, or marketing qualified lead model. It's highly manual, totally intuition-based, and relies on these rigid, static rules. Like you give a lead 10 points just because they downloaded an ebook. But ask yourself, does downloading an ebook actually mean they're ready to sign a $50,000 software contract? Usually, no way. That old model just inflates your pipeline with junk, wastes your sales team's time, and completely drives up your acquisition cost. The 2026 predictive scoring model, on the other hand, is AI-driven, highly behavioral, and completely automated. It analyzes the really nuanced ways an account interacts with your product and content in real time, instantly filtering out the noise. And hey, this isn't just some experimental theory anymore. HubSpot really hit the nail on the head here, noting that AI models evaluate engagement and behavior patterns to prioritize high-value opportunities. The absolutely crucial takeaway: AI is now entirely operational in the modern SaaS go-to-market motion. It is not a side project. The companies that are actually beating that $1,200 acquisition cost are treating AI and predictive modeling as foundational infrastructure. They're using it to target the right leads way faster, instead of treating it like some shiny new toy. It's the literal engine of their revenue operations. Section 1. The power of intent data. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer speed and precision of how you deploy intent data. It basically operates in 3 rapid-fire steps. Step 1 is tracking first-party behaviors. So things like a prospect visiting your pricing page 3 times in 1 week or spending a ton of time reading your technical documentation. Step 2 is combining that internal data with third-party intent data, like knowing that same prospect is actively researching your direct competitors on review sites like G2. And then step 3 is where the magic happens. The AI scores this high-fit account based on all those signals and routes it directly to your sales team within 15 minutes. You're striking exactly when the iron is hot, literally intercepting the buyer right at the peak of their research phase. And the results of this intent-based routing? Absolutely staggering. Look at this massive jump in conversion. Intent-based scoring yields conversion rates 2 to 3 times higher than traditional cold outbound. No joke. You aren't just handing your sales reps more leads, you're giving them leads that are actively trying to solve a problem right in this very moment. When a rep picks up the phone or sends that email, they already know the full context of the buyer's pain. That immediate relevance is exactly how you drive down that $1,200 acquisition cost and seriously accelerate revenue. All right, moving right along to section 2, product qualified leads. Okay, check out this benchmark, 61%. Recent data from the US SaaS frontline shows that companies actively tracking product qualified leads, or PQLs, are 61% more likely to become fast growth companies compared to those that don't. Think about the gravity of that for a second. If you have a product led growth motion or freemium model, the strongest variable for predicting high speed growth today is whether or not you are obsessively tracking when a user actually experiences the value of your product. It shifts your entire focus away from marketing fluff and directly onto user success. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why that's the case. When you compare these growth predictors, tracking PQLs gives you high impact and fast activation. You're defining a product qualified lead around a really crucial activation milestone, like, say, a user achieving their first value within 14 days of starting a free trial. Compare that to traditional social advertising, which is getting increasingly lower impact and way higher cost. Tracking product activation milestones fundamentally outperforms just throwing money at LinkedIn or Meta ads. Why? Because you are qualifying leads based on actual value realized inside your software, not just superficial clicks on a sponsored post. Which brings us to Section 3, aligning marketing and sales. So to actually make this cross-team alignment work, you need a few specific structural changes. First up, shared intent signals. Both marketing and sales literally have to trust and utilize the exact same behavioral data. Second, consistent positioning. The promise made by your marketing campaigns has to match the reality delivered by your sales reps on the closing call. Third, and honestly this may be the most important, qualification has to be based on readiness, not volume. Marketing shouldn't be high-fiving over handing over 1,000 weak leads if none of them are actually ready to buy. And finally, you need continuous feedback loops. The AI model has to learn which deals closed and which ones stalled, so the predictive engine gets smarter and more accurate over time. And wow, look at the ultimate payoff here. When marketing and sales are perfectly aligned around predictive data, your financial discipline just skyrockets. Looking at CAC payback periods by annual contract value, top quartile SMBs are hitting 8 to 12 months. Mid-market companies are seeing 14 to 18 months, and enterprise deals are paying back in 18 to 24 months. By using predictive scoring to focus only on accounts that have a mathematical likelihood to close, you dramatically cut wasted spend and hit these incredibly healthy investor-approved payback benchmarks. It literally transforms your go-to-market motion from a massive cost center into a highly predictable revenue engine. Listen, if you take just one single thing away from this explainer today, please let it be this. SaaS growth is entirely driven by efficiency now, not volume. The average SaaS growth rate has dropped to 18%, and a significant chunk of companies are actually seeing year-over-year declines in revenue. In a landscape where it costs $1,200 just to get a single customer through the front door, you absolutely cannot afford a leaky bucket. Mastering acquisition efficiency through AI and predictive behavioral scoring isn't just some nice-to-have best practice anymore, it is the absolute prerequisite for survival. So, I want to leave you with a final, provocative question to chew on today for your own business. Is your CRM's lead scoring built for volume, or is it actually built for revenue? Are you still handing out arbitrary points for ebook downloads, or are you tracking the high-intent behaviors that actually signal a buying decision? It's time to pop open the hood on your acquisition engine and make sure it's really optimized for 2026. Thanks so much for diving into the data with me today.